Our next debate features fifth graders from Mr. Flamming and Mrs. Nelson's classroom. And this debate is going to be to the resolution that tablets should replace textbooks. The affirmative team may begin.
We, as the affirmative team, believe that tablets should replace textbooks for the following reason. Our first argument is tablets can help kids learn more information and learn it faster. I read an article by an author named Don Reese.
Slower.
Which supports my argument because it says, according to the U.S. Department of Education and recent studies by the National Training and Simulation Association, technology-based instruction can reduce the time students take to research a learning objective by up to 80%. This is important because it shows that kids can learn more information quickly using technology such as tablets. Teachers would appreciate it if students would learn more information faster and also if they learned more. Teachers already do so much work that if we promote tablets over textbooks, it will make the workload for teachers smaller. Our second argument is tablets are less expensive in the long run. I read another article by an author named Don Reese that said in this article, the hope to help students access more current information while preparing them for an increasingly digital age. We spend $7 billion a year on textbooks and for many students around the country. Janikowski noted in the press conference last year announcing the change. This is important because it shows that textbooks are much more expensive than many schools think. It's also important because schools have a limited budget and don't have much money. So having to spend less would greatly help. So if schools use tablets instead of textbooks, they would have more money to spend on other resources. Our third argument is, if technology is everywhere, why not in school? I read an article by an author named Cecilia Kang that said, tech is like oxygen, said Shannon Schuster. We try to get our children started early. Why? This is important because it shows that when children grow up, they will have to use technology. So if we get them started early, they have a head start. It is also important because it shows that if children get started early with technology, they will have a much better chance to get more and better jobs.
Our first argument is that tablets can hold newer information than textbooks. I read an article by an author named John Larson that said, according to the FCC, the U.S. spends about $7 billion per year on textbooks, but many of them are 7 to 10 years out of date. This is important because it shows that when students are learning in classes with textbooks, they're not learning the current curriculum. If they don't know the current curriculum, then they will not know the current events happening around the world. They also might be learning incorrect information if the textbook is not updated. Our fifth argument is that tablets are less heavy and don't cause back pain. I read an article on procon.org that said, according to data from the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, over the period from 1994 to 2000, more than 23,000 youths ages 6 to 18 were treated in emergency rooms for backpack-related injuries, such as contusions, sprains and strains to the back and shoulders, and fractures. This is important because it shows that if kids have textbooks, they can get major injuries. This is also important because many kids may have injuries that will sustain them from learning academic or physical education. It would also reduce the stress put on parents or guardians if they would not have to be concerned as much about their child getting injured at school. Our sixth argument is that students can skip buying textbooks. I read an article by an author named Roger Yu that said the accounting major at Virginia State University got buying several courses with study groups and professors' lectures. It's not that I didn't want to buy, he says. Sometimes I just didn't have the money for a $200 book. This is important because it shows that students can skip buying textbooks if they don't have the money for them. If students skip buying textbooks, then they don't learn from them. This is also important because if students in school don't learn from the textbooks they are skipping buying, then they may not get a decent education, and they may get an indecent job. Conclusion. Remember, we are the affirmative team for tablets versus textbooks. Also, remember that our arguments were, tablets help students learn more and learn faster. Tablets are less expensive in the long run. If tablets are everywhere else, why not in schools? Tablets have newer information. Tablets don't get worn down and old. Students can skip buying textbooks, and tablets are less heavy and do not cause back injuries. We really hope that you enjoyed our argument and have a good day.
Excellent job. All right, we will now hear from the negative.
We, the negative team, do not support the resolution that tablets should replace textbooks. We have following 10 arguments to prove that tablets should not replace textbooks. Our first argument is health issues. A report by American Optometric Association suggests that students who use tablets or computers has higher risk of computer vision syndrome, which include following symptoms: eye strain, headaches, blurred vision, and dry eyes. There may be a higher risk of carpal tunnel syndrome and neck and shoulder pain. Also, there's a risk of musculoskeletal disorders and fibromyalgia. We got this information from Procon.org and onlineeducationdegrees.org, which is a credible source. Procon.org states that manufacturing tablets is environmentally destructive and dangerous to human health. According to New York Times, the adverse health impacts from making one e-reader are estimated to be 70 times greater than those who making a single book. One tablet requires extraction of 33 pounds of minerals, 79 gallons of water, and 100 kilowatt hours of fossil fuels, resulting 66 pounds of carbon dioxide. Printing books produce 110 fewer greenhouse gases. 2 gallons of water are required to make the pulp slurry that is pressed and heat dried to make paper, and only 2 kilowatt hours are required to form and dry sheets of paper. Our second argument is high cost of electric devices. Many school districts think that electric devices such as iPads or tablets cost more than textbooks. An article by Beth Bacon, digitalbookworld.com, which is a credible source, states that budgets are always a concern in education. In recent survey of more than 225 kindergarten through grade 12 educators in the United States, 57% responders selected no budget versus application ebooks as the biggest challenge in the integrating tablets in their lessons. Also, an article by Procon.org states that using tablets are more expensive than using print textbooks. Implementing tablets in K-12 schools requires purchasing hardware, the tablet, and software, the textbooks. Building new Wi-Fi infrastructure and training teachers and administrators how to use the technology. Implementation costs for ebooks and iPad are 552% higher than new printed textbooks in average schools. Lee Wilson, a prominent education marketing expert, estimated the annual cost per student per class with tablets to be $71.55 versus $14.26 for printed textbooks. Our third argument is technical problems. OnlineEducation.org, which is a credible source, states that tablets can break if dropped, or software may freeze and make device and homework assignments unavailable. They also are subject to possible malware attacks from the internet. Also, from Procon.org, if a student breaks a tablet, it could take a while for technician to fix it. It also takes a lot of money to fix a bunch of kids' tablets. Also, some students take advantage of tablets and play games during class. A lot of students learn better by reading things out of books. So if he takes books away from and use tablets, then those students cannot learn the way that is good for them. Also, print textbooks cannot crash, freeze, or get hacked. Unlike tablets, there is not a chance of getting malware, spyware, or having personal information stolen from a print textbook. Edudemic.com states that tablets are increasingly lightweight and ultra-thin, leaving their fragile image. The glass may break and crack, and tablets will be unusable, requiring repair or replacement, both expensive. Our fourth argument is distractions. From Program.org states that students at Liverpool High use school-issued electronics to exchange answers on tests, download pornography, and hack into local businesses. That is definitely not schoolwork. Tablets have many distractions for classroom use. Students may pay attention to apps, email, games, and websites instead of their teachers. 87% of K through 12 teachers believe that today's digital technologies are creating easily distracted generation with short attention spans. 4/5 of students 8/18 multitask while using digital media. Also, allmyeducationdegrees.org states that using tablets in class can invite digital distraction, and as students may attempt to surf the web, check emails, chat on social media, or play online games instead of focusing on their classroom work. On edudemic.com, it says that children will be online all the time. We call this tablets as secret theory. They soon found that the issues with gaming and texting in classroom largely subsided as novelty wore off. Also, the Procon.org states that tablets enable students to cut corners or cheat on schoolwork. Students can easily avoid reading and analyzing text on their own because they can quickly look up passages on electronic and search for answers on the internet. Our fifth argument is battery life. The onlineeducationdegrees.org states that thanks to battery life choice varies widely among tablet devices, and finding enough electrical outlets in the classroom to charge several tablets at once can be difficult. Our sixth argument is typing and sharing. SecureGenetWorks.com, which is a credible source, states that typing is frustrating. Steve Jobs said that typing on the iPad is a dream. Well, in the truth, it's not like a computer keyboard, which makes it difficult to type longer e-documents. People much prefer a real keyboard any day. They are also not good for sharing. iPads are designed to be personal devices with in-cavity interlogins. Students need her own. Personal information cannot be stored if students share iPads. Our seventh argument is lack of multitasking. SecureGenetWorks.com states that multiple windows and files can't be kept open side by side. This is definitely negative if you're trying to multitask. Also, on FalsityFocus.com, which is a credible source, states that with easy access to all sort of technology, students multitask. So do lots of that matter. But students are way too convinced that multitasking is a great way to work. They think they can do 2 or 3 tasks simultaneously and not compromise the quality of what they produce. Research says that about 5% of us multitask effectively. Proof of negative effects of multitask in learning environment is now coming by variety of studies. The question is, how do we get students to stop? We can tell them they shouldn't. We can include policies that aim prevent it to devote time and energy trying to implement them. I wonder if it isn't the smarter idea confront students with facts, not administrations, but concrete evidence that multitasking compromises their efforts to learn. This
Specifics.
yeah,
It's hard to say.
that are persuasive, and here are some examples to share with students. An experiment involving 62 undergraduate students taking principles of accounting course. Half of the cohort was allowed to text during lecture, and half of the phones were turned off. After lecture, both groups took the same quiz. The students who did not text scored significantly higher on the quiz.
Will you jump to your 8th argument, just for time-wise?
Okay.
You've got a lot of examples. Let's just jump to your 8th argument.
Our eighth argument. Yes. Our eighth argument is memory. Procon.org states that people who read printed text comprehend more, remember more, and learn more than those who read digital text. The brain interprets printed and digital text in different ways, and people generally read digital text 20 to 30% slower than print. According to Pulitzer Prize-winning technology writer Nicholas Carr, peer-reviewed studies show that reading hyperlinked text may increase brain's cognitive load, lowering the ability to process, store, and retain information or translate the new material conceptual knowledge. Our ninth argument is excuses. Procon.org states that tablets increase the numbers of excuses available for students not doing their schoolwork/homework. Students have new available excuses, including the tablet broke/froze. I forgot the tablets at home, so I can't do schoolwork today, or I can't find my charger. Our 10th argument is apps. Onlineeducation.org states that apps are not compatible. Not all apps or software will work on all tablets. Many iPad apps use proprietary software rated for Apple products and won't work on Android-based tablets like Kindle Fire. Also, some software, not notably Adobe Flash, won't work with Apple products. We, the negative team, do not support a resolution. Tablets should replace textbooks. We had 10 arguments based on health issues, high costs, technical problems, distractions, battery life, typing and sharing, lack of multitasking, memory, excuses, and apps.
Very nice. All right. The negative team, you may rebuttal now. Jimin, you're the rebuttalist.
Oh, should I go right now?
Yes. The negative team may rebuttal now.
As you said before, if they are at home, why not at school? You have a higher risk of computer vision syndrome, and you also may have health issues. Also, with textbooks, you could just flip the page and find what you need instead of looking it up, clicking on different websites to find the best website. You said you can skip by on textbooks. You can also skip by on tablets too.
Okay. Thank you. The the affirmative, would you rebuttal now? Mrs. Issei?
For the play games, distracting and apps,
Parents or teachers can constrict them to what they can use websites or apps.
Okay, go on.
For high cost, textbooks can wear down way quicker than tablets. As we talked before, tablets are cheaper in the long run. It may not seem like that at first, but as you go on, it is way cheaper. For health issues, as we talked before, textbooks cause back injury. For the eyes, there are new glasses that takes away the blue light from technology. For the bad ingredients, textbooks are made of trees and have lots of pages in each book, which is a lot of trees that are getting cut down each day. For batteries, students can use them during school and can charge them during night, or if they have their own personal device at home, they can use that charger to charge their device at school. Typing. If it's hard to type on tablets, get Bluetooth. Keyboard is easier if you get Bluetooth. For memory, reading digital text is roughly the same thing on different thing. You are reading the same thing, they're the same. Excuses. There may be lots of excuses if you get tablets, but kids can remember or continue to just do their work.
Okay. Let's give him a hand. Great job. Our next debate is that children should be allowed to play contact sports. We will begin with the affirmative team.
We, the affirmative team, believe in the resolution that children should play contact sports for the following reasons. Our first argument is that children learn to deal with adversity. This is true because children will make errors in contact sports and they will be able to deal with it. We read an article by Stacy Mahey from whycoach.com. She said, if your child learns how to deal with adversity, errors, and challenges in sports, chances are they will be able to translate that skill to real life and effectively minimize mistakes and/or bad decisions, as well as completely recover from setbacks. This is a credible source because they are part of a contact sports league, and this is why you should agree with me. Our second argument is that playing on a high school sports team increases a young woman's chance of going to college by 41%. This is true because children will use the same amount of hard work and dedication used in sports in their studies. We read an article by Amanda Davis, who is a personal trainer, to find this out. Our third argument is that by playing contact sports, children build self-esteem and will have a can-do attitude. This is true because we read another article by Amanda Davis from livestrong.com. She said, participation in sports can have a huge impact on a child's self-esteem and confidence. Children who participate in sports get praise and encouragement from coaches and parents, which helps to build self-confidence. They also learn to trust in their own abilities and push themselves. Our fourth argument is that children who play contact sports build strong social relationships with one another. This is true because we read an article by Grace Chang from publicschoolreview.com. She said students who participate in sports often forge close friendships with others on the team. These relationships are essential for mental, emotional, and physical health throughout the high school years. Students bond together over common passion, and the time they spend together at practice and games build tight bonds that often last long after high school is over. Our fifth argument is that children involved in contact sports have a less likely chance of taking drugs or smoking because they will know what impact it will have on them. This is true because we read an article by Teresa McIntyre from families.com. She said, kids involved in sports are less likely to take drugs or smoke because they realize the impact these destructive activities can have upon performance. She also said, girls who play sports are less likely to become pregnant. Our sixth argument is that children who play sports are generally happier. This is true because exercise includes flow of endorphins, neurotransmitters that when released into the brain, they improve one's mood and release one's stress. We read an article from Amazing Athletes Incorporated. They said exercise can make your child happier thanks to an increased flow of endorphins, neurotransmitters that are released in the brain that improve one's mood and release one's stress. Our seventh argument is that children who play contact sports get better grades than children who don't play contact sports. This is true because we read an article from Amazing Athletes Incorporated. They said regular exercise gets blood flowing to the brain, which improves essential skills for classroom learning, such as memory and concentration. Research has shown that children who are involved in sports do better in school than those who are not involved in sports, thus giving active children a leg up in the classroom. Our eighth argument is that sports promote well-rounded health because research has proved that children who play sports have increased disease prevention. This is true because we read an article by Amazing Athletes. They said regular exercise, which begins at a young age, stave off certain diseases like breast cancer and osteoporosis. Our ninth argument is that playing contact sports promotes to lifelong health. We read an article by Amanda Davis from LiveStrong.com. She said sports participation promotes health and wellness not only through childhood but throughout a lifetime. Sports such as swimming and golf are especially beneficial because the child can continue to play as an adult, benefiting from the physical activity. Children who participate in sports might also be more aware of healthy food choices. Our 10th argument is that children who play sports have excelled in leadership skills because as kids get older, they are expected to encourage and teach younger team members by setting an example and usually provide advice and guidance on and off the field. This is true because we read an article by Amanda Davis who said, as students advance to the ranks of the high school team, they learn valuable leadership skills. Senior athletes are expected to encourage younger team members and hold them accountable. In conclusion, we, the affirmative team, believe in the resolution that kids should play contact sports for the following reasons. Children learn to deal with adversity. Playing sports increases women's chances of graduating. Children build self-esteem. Children build social relationships playing contact sports. Children are less likely to smoke or take drugs. Children are happier when playing sports. Children get better grades when playing contact sports. Playing sports promotes to well-rounded health. Playing sports promotes to lifelong health. Children build leadership skills when playing sports.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Let's hear from the negative team.
Hello, we are Bhavan Thesha and Bodie Williamson, and we do not support the resolution that children should play contact sports for the following reasons. Reason number 1. Children could get serious head injuries and brain injuries that affect children both physically and mentally. Between 1997 and 2007, the number of emergency department visits for concussions doubled between 8 and 13-year-olds and tripled for older youths, according to the Southwest Trainers Association. While part of the spike is likely due to increased surveillance and awareness, it still outlines a major problem in youth sports, says Lori Cook, director of the Pediatric Brain Injury Programs at the University of Texas, Dallas' Center for Brain Health. Between 2001 and 2009, football sent about 25,376 kids under the age of 19 to the emergency room for traumatic brain injury each year. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that as many as 3.8 million concussions happen every year in contact sports activities. Dr. Robert Cantu says, if children fall, they are more likely to have their heads snap backwards and hit the ground. Reason number 2. In American football, children are encouraged to bash their heads together and that they are taught that it is the best way to win. Debate.org states, some contact sports are fine, but not American football. The difference between American football and, for instance, rugby, is that in American football, head collisions are literally part of the game. Not only are they allowed, they are encouraged, and in many circumstances, that they are the best way to win. Reason number 3. Children are still growing, and are more valuable to serious injury and concussions. What?
More vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Debate.org also states, children should not be allowed to play risky contact sports like American football. Contact sports are dangerous and children are not mature enough to play them. It has been shown that being repeatedly hit and tackled in football can lead to brain damage. The MGH Clay Center for Young Healthy Minds states that kids who have a single concussion are many times more likely to suffer multiple concussions. The CDC states that the short-term effects of a concussion can generate addiction problems that may plague a person throughout life. When young athletes have a flawed memory, they can have difficulty concentrating in school, relating to other kids, or sleeping well, and these problems therefore have a long-term, devastating consequences. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that as many as 3.8 million concussions happen each year in sports and recreational activities. Cantu, a concussion expert and brain surgeon at Emerson Hospital in Massachusetts, explains that kids' brains are at more risk for injury than adult brains. Children's brains do not have as much of a protein called myelin, which helps protect the brain. Kids have larger heads and weaker necks and torsos, so if they fall, they are much more likely to have their heads snap backwards and hit the ground. Imagine a block of Jell-O in a jar of water. Now imagine shaking that jar so hard that the Jell-O slams into the sides. This is similar to what happens with a concussion. The soft, spongy brain slashes forcefully against the inside of the skull. Reason number 4. Many adults and kids get plagued by concussions by sports like American football. Isaiah Kahoot loved football. He had a dream to play high school football, and it was about to come true. He was 13 and going to a football camp to go play high school football. He dreamed of this since kindergarten, but on his second day at football camp, he was running with the ball and got tackled really hard. I could see and hear, he said, but I couldn't comprehend what was happening around me. His parents soon rushed him to the hospital, where the doctor said he was diagnosed with a severe concussion. For 14 days, Isaiah had to stay in a dark room so his brain could heal. He felt miserable for the next 2 months. He felt foggy and had trouble answering questions. As horrible and hard as it was, Isaiah's injury was not unusual. Every year, numerous kids have concussions like his from playing contact sports like football. As he slowly recovered from his concussion, he thought hard about the game he loved and all of the risks. Finally, he had to make a hard decision. He decided he was done with football forever. A single concussion, if treated properly, will likely heal without long-term effects. Like Isaiah, his concussion did not have long-term effects. But repeated concussions are another story. PersonalHealthInsurance.com states that contact sports can be very dangerous. Even when following the rules and using proper equipment, injuries can occur. Perhaps the most frightening are those that affect the head and can lead to brain damage, or worse, over a period of time. When participation in contact sports begins in childhood and continues throughout college and beyond, this can equal more than a decade of repetitive strain and tough bumps and blows throughout the body. This proves that just minor injuries can lead to something much worse. Reason number 5. American football, says Don Comstock, who has researched football incidents of concussions for high school athletes and football players, says that it is the riskiest sport by far. His evidence and reports states that 6.4 per 10,000 events in football have concussions, leading to the highest concussion rate per event in sports. BostonGlobe.com says, as head football coach at Westboro High School, Mark Ellis is obsessed with finding athletic freshmen. Recruiting always wasn't a big concern. In 2002, Ellis suited 115 players across his varsity, JV, and freshman teams. but last season he had just 77 kids. And today, when the coach approaches a promising recruit, he's often hit with a frustrating reply. My parents don't want me to play because of concussions. Coach Ellis saw that 10% of his players were diagnosed with concussions last season. Time.com states, last month, in one single Pop Warner football game, 5 young players on a team from Tantasquam, Massachusetts, suffered from serious head injuries. The boys were all around the age of 10, and none were over the predetermined weight limit of 120 pounds. In spite of the 52-point lead the opposing had on Tantasquam, neither coach called for the contest to end. Reason number 6. Some coaches don't take kids' safety seriously. Evidence shows that youth baseball coaches often script the guidelines and ignore common sense. One teenage pitcher started 64 games for his travel team in 2003, more than most major league pitchers start 2 seasons. He snapped a ligament in his elbow and had to have reconstructive surgery. His doctor noted that he had performed dozens of such operations on young athletes. Young coach Hal Jacobs observed a 12-year-old who stayed on the mound when his pitch count reached 84 with the temperature nearly 100 degrees on the field. Research suggests that young pitchers who throw 80 pitches a game have 4 times the risk of undergoing elbow surgery. Conclusion. Again, we are on the negative side, arguing against children playing contact sports. With each of our arguments, 1. Children could get serious head injuries and brain injuries that affect children both physically and mentally. 2. In American football, children are encouraged to bash heads and taught that it is the best way to win. 3. Children are still growing and are more vulnerable to serious injury and concussions. And 4. Many adults and kids get plagued by concussions by sports like American football. 5. American football, says Don Comstock, who has researched football incidents, says that it is the riskiest sport by far. And 6. Some coaches don't take kids' safety seriously. We show that contact sports such as American football are too risky for children because their bodies cannot take an impact to the head or body as well as adults. Therefore, children should not play contact sports for it is too risky. We hope that you have enjoyed our debate.
Thank you very much. Excellent, Bodie. Okay, negative rebuttal.
Okay. How do you know Stacy is reliable? How is amazing athletes?
We're taping a debate. Go ahead.
Is amazing athletes a reliable source? Linebackers sometimes try to gain weight so they can tackle easier and harder. Do you have any living proof of what you say? Do you have any living proof of what you say?
No. Go on.
Stacy's wait, no. Sports and education are different things. So how can playing sports increase the chance of getting into college so much? How does someone not become pregnant if playing sports? What is the explanation? Swimming and golf aren't contact sports, and so you're basically making kids try and go to non-contact sports activities.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, our final rebuttal.
First of all, do you have living proof? No, I meant like
Okay, that's okay. Go on. It's okay.
All right.
We'll take this on afterwards.
Safety gear is being improved every year and injuries are being reduced by a lot. Children are not encouraged to bash their heads, they're encouraged to tackle.
Okay.
Not all concussions are because of contact sports. And in football, there are barely any head bashes, more tackles.
Okay. Is that it, Lauren?
Yeah.
Thank you.